Pelosi versus Mnuchin. The parties claim that a deal is imminent. A deal could be coming this weekend as they negotiate the points and get to ostensibly just a few items that are left unresolved, while they claim the rest are nearly finished. They're working on numbers, they're working on language, but can they get this deal done this weekend, and why has everything changed so quickly? This is Pelosi versus Mnuchin and Afternoon's LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is another breaking news development on the twists and turns of Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi. The chief of the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, and House Speaker Miss Nancy Pelosi. They haven't seen eye to eye on a lot of things, but tonight they're claiming that they're close to getting a deal. If you've not subscribed to this channel, go to the front of the channel, subscribe, and also like this video. This is the best damn channel there is out there in a lot of twists and turns. Normally, this is the rent time slot on the EIDL. I'll be covering a little bit of that later. But this is another special report of Pelosi versus Mnuchin. Nancy Pelosi, the Temple of Doom, is suddenly the Temple of Optimism, claiming that a deal will be hatched potentially as early as this weekend, and claiming it's confident. She said her positive remarks not once but twice throughout today, Friday, after yesterday's developments. First, let me give you her remarks. Then let me tell you what happened yesterday and why it's so contradictory. First, her remarks were she thinks that a deal can be done by Sunday. That was the first thing. Or she said over the weekend, actually, to be very specific. Then she also said in a separate series of quotes that she doesn't want the airlines to fire anyone, even though they already have, because she says a deal is going to get done. It's our job to get a deal done, and it's our job not to squander and squabble anymore and actually get things effectuated. Lord, who is this person? This is the cheaper ice cream person I really like. As $12 that ice cream person's gone, I guess. This is shocking news that she was basically telling people, don't fire anyone, we're going to get this done, wait up, wait up. Of course, they had already fired 30,000 people, but they said they'll bring them back if she does do the deal. This is categorically incredible, great news. Now, Steve Mnuchin has not said much, actually said nothing, in the last 8 hours, potentially, and the White House hasn't said much of nothing either. So you don't have the press secretary slamming her, you don't have Mitch slamming her, you have everyone sort of calm, and Nancy saying, I think we have a deal. What you do also have is Mark Meadows coming out to press this morning in a purple tie, no mask, and saying the president's in great wishes. And the first thing he said today is, what's going on with the stimulus talks? And I'm not exaggerating. That's incredible, great news. So why has everything changed so quickly? Where are we now? And where are we going? The reason why it's changed is because of Purple Power. When I launched Purple Power on this channel, giving a name to the movement of this channel, which had already existed since April 25th, and calling it Purple Power, named after the shirts that I would wear on this channel that are often purple, I said, hey, we need a movement that says stop squabbling, stop bickering, stop calling people names, stop being so partisan, give us our darn stimulus. You're being paid to give us money, and you're not doing anything but closing your doors and say, don't come back to me, and I don't know what your name is. And it worked. A series of events today in the last 24 hours have really worked. Let me explain to you how we got here. Last night, Nancy Pelosi, after a one-day delay caused by the Purple Power and the Problem Solvers, finally put her bill to a vote. She was going to put her bill to a vote on Wednesday, but we urged her not to put a vote because it's a bad bill, that people should not vote in favor of it, and that they should vote against it in her own party. The problem solvers agreed and said, don't put your bill to a vote, Nancy. We don't like it. It's partisan. Stop squabbling. And don't threaten to leave. At that time, she had threatened to leave town. She said, they were going to put a vote to a vote and we'll leave town. And then Steny Hoyer said, we're basically done. And she said negotiations are basically done. Oh, problem solvers didn't like that language. And they said, no, you're not done. You're not leaving. And you need to continue to work. You're not finished. It was us. and the problem solvers. And she then said, you know what, I won't put it to a vote. I'll put it to a vote for Thursday and we'll negotiate a little bit more. So she negotiated a little bit more on Thursday in the morning, did not reach a deal. And by Thursday night, she said, we're going to put it to a vote. She put it to a vote. And again, Purple Power won because we had dissenters against her vote. Her own Democrats voted in part against her. Now, I want to make something very clear because there's a lot of people who don't like the Purple Power. We have to be sort of acknowledging of detractors. And they said, well, her bill passed. What did you win? We won dissent among her caucus. We had people actually in the Democratic Party vote against her and say, we don't like the bill because it's partisan and it's not going to go anywhere. And we got that yesterday. But going into that, we knew that was going to happen. And going into that, we knew the bill was going to die. It did die. The bill goes nowhere. Now, some people are a little confused. The bill goes to the Senate as though that's some incredible achievement. No, it procedurally always goes to the Senate. It's not like, it's some special bill. That's why it got to the Senate. They always go to the Senate and there it dies, as all bills often do. They go from the House to the Senate to the House, and then they die. If there's no support, where they're going to. And that's what happened with this bill. No support, it dies in the Senate. It does not get approved in the Senate. It does not get approved by the president. It does not become law because it was passed last night. And then things started to turn. A series of Democrats came out and said what happened tonight was bad. What she did was a partisan political thing of theater, and it should not have happened because it didn't do anything. All it did was pass another bill. And I want to make something very clear to you. She had already passed a version of this bill in May, and it's in the Senate, and it's dead in the Senate. So all she was doing was passing another version of this bill and sending it back to the Senate where this one's dying too. It's just like, okay, you got the point first time. No, I'll do it a second time, just to say it again. And the Democrats came out against it. After that, she started to negotiate. And Mnuchin continued to negotiate and continued and continued. Meantime, we had our pressure and we had the airlines really, really pissed off. And they were firing people, 35,000 people firing yesterday. So Mnuchin had the ammunition of the Purple Power pushing against Pelosi, saying, you're still at the same darn thing where you were since July, Nance. Change it. You had the problem solver saying, you're not being bipartisan, you're being partisan. You had the airline saying, thank you for nothing. We're firing 35,000 people. And she started to back up. Mnuchin, on the other hand, was being hit the other way. And what Mnuchin was being hit with was a very, very, very bad jobs report this morning. A new jobs report, which shows how many jobs are created per month. That includes junk jobs and part-time jobs and jobs that you're just going to have for a day or two to pay a few bills. It's not full-time jobs you're going to go to for 40 hours a week for 3 months or 2 years or 3 years. It's odd jobs here and there. It includes every type of job. And they're expecting 800,000 as the new jobs number for the month of September, Wall Street. Well, guess where it came in? 600 something. Ooh, boy. 200,000, nearly 200,000 less jobs than Wall Street expected. It was so bad that it basically said, and this is not my opinion, this is every quote from Wall Street analysts today, that every element of stimulus that was done in CARES Act 1 has now floated through the economy and it's no longer stimulating this economy. You have an economy that's sort of working on its own and it's not improving quick enough. And that at this rate, it'll take many years to ever rebound. Mark Meadows came out and said there was a V. It's more like this. It's like, yeah, a V, if the side of the V is crooked. It's going very bad, this recovery. And so Mnuchin, who's an economist, understood that there's not enough liquidity, not enough grants, not enough EIDL, not enough PPP, not enough stimulus checks, not enough PUA, not enough all that and above going into the system to get people stimulated, to get this economy picking back up. Because you have two phases, and I need to make this clear because I haven't said this before. When you're talking about Pelosi and Mnuchin, you have two phases. The first phase is to get through the pandemic during a lockdown. That was CARES Act 1. Okay, we got through the lockdown before we even have potentially another lockdown. And now what do we do going forward to get moving and recovered from the lockdown? Because the first money was to get through the lockdown. Now we're through the lockdown. How do we recover the economy? Another round of stimulus. And that's why the president understands this. And so Mnuchin really had that horrible number hitting him. He's not going to acknowledge the number. The White House will never acknowledge the number. It's not their strategy is always say everything is great when it's not great. They know it's not great. They just pitch that to you and hope you buy into that false narrative. And ultimately, it came to fruition. Wall Street, which is where Steve Mnuchin comes from, has been hitting him hard over the last 3 days. They said, you can't keep on doing this. You can't keep on not giving us stimulus. You can't not give us stimulus and expect us to wait, as Nancy Pelosi said, till January next year. Nancy Pelosi yesterday said we're going to wait, or the day before, we're going to wait to January 2021 to have stimulus relief in the next stimulus package. You can't do that. You can't do that. You want to give Biden an economy that has not had stimulus until January, February of next year? Biden will have for 4 years of his term the worst U.S. economy in its entire history. It will not be an economy he can turn around. He literally will not be able to turn this economy around in 4 years if you have us wait with no stimulus all the way to February. That is not a Democratic plan. That is not a plan that helps Biden. It just doesn't work. And it will absolutely implode the Democratic Party come February. So Pelosi sort of understood that. On the other hand, Mnuchin understands that you can't hope you're going to get reelected when the situation's bad now and we're not into the situation going forward. And that situation going forward is the cold winter months. So Mnuchin has really moved. And where has he moved on numbers? Well, he's moved on testing. He came up on testing numbers, as Pelosi has confirmed, in the last 8 hours. He's come up on money for particular items that don't concern viewers of this channel, like schools and things like that. He has modified language so that it makes more room for money to float, even though it may not make the bill more expensive, make the bill higher. Where have they not agreed? Not agreed so far. It's just what you expect. State and local. And FPUC is, it's so obvious. This is every single day, same damn thing. She's at 600. He's at 400. She's at, a lot of money for state and local. He's not. It's the same darn thing. The question is whether they can get it done. I mean, it's getting to be a little silly at this point. She came from 950 for state and local down to 400. Which, if we do the math, you and I, those Moody's Analytics and Governors Association's third-party reports from the last 3 weeks that I've been reporting on this channel, they said 951 was 3 years of grants to the states. So 3 divided by 900 is 300 billion. So 1 year of grants for the state and local to get through this pandemic would be 300 billion. So she wanted 400. So I guess that's a little bit more than a year. Mnuchin apparently is at 200 billion, which would then put us at less than a year of state and local grants. I don't understand what Mnuchin's doing there, because Meadows has on the record said state and local need 150, but the president will double it to 300. So I don't know why Mnuchin is back at 200. Doesn't make sense. Bottom line is, say 300 and call it a day. 300 state and local, call it a day. 350, call it a day. Is really not a big deal. The 600 versus 500 versus 400 for PUA, FPUC. Again, what's the big deal? Just call it 500 and say it's a day. She has been at $600 since, July. She has never moved a dollar. On the other hand, I don't understand what's going on with Mnuchin, because his positions are going all over the place. The White House has said they support the Problem Solvers bill, but the Problem Solvers bill was not 400. It was 450 for 8 weeks and then 5 weeks at $600 a week. So I don't know what Mnuchin's going the other way. Finally, the airlines. Yeah, that all changed in the last 6 hours. Today, Mnuchin and Pelosi both say the airlines can have a standalone bill because we're not getting this done, and we need to fix the airlines right away. As of yesterday, Pelosi was saying no standalone bill for the airlines. Today, she's saying yes. On Thursday, the White House press secretary says yes for standalone bill for airlines and maybe even executive order. But from Wednesday to Monday, Mnuchin saying no way, we're not doing anything standalone for the airlines. So it's just like these people are just changing. But that's the spirit of the negotiation, and I hope it does get done. I really do hope it gets done. Understand, as we go into the evenings, I get these wonderful comments, and I love them all the time. They say, what are you going to do? Where are you going? I'm not going anywhere. I mean, the deal is if you don't go anywhere, I'm not going anywhere. We have a very successful morning show. We have a very successful afternoon show. We have a very successful evening show. And I think there's more than enough stuff to cover in a given day. The fact that this channel is now expanded to 4 hours of programming, I think this is a couple things for us to talk on a given day, even if a stimulus package is signed into law by next Wednesday. Not saying it is, but even if it is, doesn't mean that it's not enough for us to talk about. You still don't have the money. You still have to apply for grants. You still have to get all these grants approved and money in your hands, and that's not an easy task to figure out. And someone has to guide you through that. And I'm here for that. So go to the front channel, subscribe to the best channel out there. And also like this video. Coming up next is Evenings at LALATE. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at LA for more.